Today I'll be showing you how to use the shrink sheets from TeckWrap, and we're going to be making some cute mini little ornaments to put on a mini tree. But you can also use these shrink sheets for many other projects as well. You can make pins, earrings, keychains, wherever your imagination wants to take you. If we're just meeting right now, hi, my name is Nisha. Welcome to Little Craft Nest. The shrink sheets we're using today shrink down by about 46%. And we're gonna start off using their glow-in-the-dark material. Now this material can't go in the printer, so we're gonna be hand making these cute little ornaments, but then we're gonna use their printable shrink sheets in the second half of this video. We're also gonna be using both Canva and Cricut Design Space. For the glow-in-the-dark shrink film, you will need to draw on the textured side of the sheet and not the glossy side. You can color using pencil crayon or markers or even colored powders. And if you're not the greatest at drawing, you can print out some images with your regular printer, place the printed paper underneath your shrink film, and then you'll be able to trace the images. All the images I'm using in this video today, I got off of Canva. Simply go to canva.com, click on Create a Design, click on Custom Size, and then make your size the same size as your printer paper. I'm using 8.5 by 11 letter size paper, so that's the size I made my canvas. Now click on Elements, and then in the search bar, I'm gonna type out Christmas outline. You can search for something different if you want to. I am going to go under graphics here and click See All, and then you can simply choose some images and put them on your page and space them out the way you want. If you want to see the actual size of your image, what you can do is click on your image, then go above that and click on Position, and then at the bottom of this panel here on the left under Advanced, it will give you the size of that individual image. Keep in mind that your size will be reduced by about 46%. So you can either type in the dimensions you want over here, or you can shrink it down on your page and then look at the size again on the left. So I've already created a sheet of images I like, so I'm gonna go over to that. So here's all the images I put on my page, and I space them out so they fit nicely and size them the way I wanted them to be sized. So once you're at this point, go ahead and click on Share, click on Download, and then click on Download again, and that will save to the downloads file on your computer. I'm using a Mac, so it just popped up on my screen here, but if it doesn't, go look in your downloads folder. Then you'll be able to print out this sheet. So I'm gonna go to File, Print, and then press Print again and let my inkjet printer print this out. Then you'll be able to take your sheet, place it underneath your shrink film, and trace out the images that you want to use. The shrink sheets are transparent, so you don't even need a light board to put underneath. You'll be able to see your image through the sheets. Keep in mind that when you go to shrink these images, your colors will appear darker. This is such a fun project to get your kids involved in, so let them have some fun and color some designs, and maybe they can make some cute designs for their friends, grandparents, or teachers. Cut around the outside of your designs with a pair of scissors, and if you're planning on turning this into a keychain or cute little Christmas ornaments like I'm doing in this video, this is the time you'll want to hole punch your image because you're not going to be able to do that later on. To shrink down your designs, you'll either need a toaster oven or a heat gun. I tried shrinking my designs both ways using the heat gun and the toaster oven, and I definitely liked using the heat gun better. However, if you're using a cordless heat gun like I am, make sure the battery is fully charged, because when the battery starts dying, your shrinking does not happen quite as fast. I place my images on a cutting board with a piece of parchment paper underneath to keep them from sticking to anything. I also had a little spatula and some tweezers to help when the edges started to curl. Now, sometimes I found I didn't need to help my designs out at all, but sometimes if they curled too much and the edges started touching each other,
sometimes they would stick. So that's when I would use my tweezers or my spatula to try to flatten it out while it was still shrinking. The shrink process can take anywhere from 30 seconds to about 2 minutes, depending on the heat source you're using and how hot it is. I found I got the best results when my heat gun was set on high. Once my image seemed to stop shrinking, I would quickly fold the piece of parchment paper over top and place some books on top to help flatten it out before it fully cooled and hardened, which actually happens super fast. These glow-in-the-dark ones are super cute because you can turn off the lights and watch them glow. The only thing about the glow-in-the-dark shrink sheets though is that you can't put them through your printer. So now we're going to make some more shrink wrap Christmas ornaments using TeckWrap's inkjet printable translucent shrink sheets, and we're going to start off on Canva again, and then we're going to hop over to Cricut Design Space and let our Cricut help us out.
But before we do that, here is a size comparison so that you can see just how much our designs shrunk. We're going to start off in Canva again, so click Create a Design, Custom Size, and this time instead of using letter size paper, we will be putting our A4 shrink sheets into our printer. But I'm not going to size this to A4 paper because once we put our design into Cricut Design Space, the cut parameters will be a little different. So I'm going to change my units from pixels to inches, and we're going to do a width of 6.55 inches and a height of 10 inches. And then click Create New Design. So we're basically going to do the same thing as we did before. So head over to Elements, and instead of doing these coloring book type images, I'm just going to search for Christmas clip art. Under graphics, I'm going to click on See All, and then you can go ahead and select the images you want. Now, one thing to know is just like when you were coloring your images and we shrunk those, the colors appeared darker once we shrunk those designs. We're going to click on Transparency, which is this checkered little background here. Click on that, and we're going to turn the transparency down to 50%. And that just made our colors 50% lighter so that when we print this, this will look light. But once we shrink our image down, it will appear darker. You can leave it at 100% if you'd like, but just keep in mind your colors will be much darker once that plastic has shrunk down. So I'm going to hop back to the sheet I already made. So here's the images I have ready to be printed, and as you can see, they all look very light because if I click on them, you'll be able to see that each of them I have the transparency set for 50%. So when you're happy with your designs, go ahead and click on Share, Download, and we're going to leave this as a PNG, and then click Download again. And now we're going to open up Cricut Design Space. We're going to start a new project and then head over to Upload. Click on Upload Image, and then you can find your image in your Downloads folder and drag and drop that onto your screen. And then click on Continue again. We're going to remove the white background here, so all you need to do is click on that white background once, and then you'll see all checkers behind your images, and that's what we want. So go ahead and click on Apply and Continue. Here we're going to select Flat Graphic, and then click Continue. You can give your image a name if you want, and then click Upload. Now this loaded onto our screen bigger than the original design we made in Canva. So you'll notice a little exclamation mark beside our layer here. We're just going to click on that exclamation mark and then click on Auto Resize Image. And then at the top, you'll see that our dimensions are fairly close to what we originally selected in Canva. The reason why it's slightly smaller than our Canva dimensions is because some of these images were not touching the edge of the screen. So our outline here has been pulled in to touch the edge of each of the images. So this is the size we want because this is the largest we can make it using A4 paper. And then go ahead and click on Make. And then you'll notice under material size that we do have A4 paper selected, and that's what we want for this paper. Make sure it's not letter size. Click on Continue. We're gonna click on Send to Printer, and I'm gonna leave the bleed on for this and turn on my Use System dialog toggle, and then click Print.
My dialog box is hiding behind the Design Space application here. I'm just going to change my media and quality and change the quality from normal to best. Then place one shrink sheet into your printer. You should be printing on the rougher side, not the glossy side. So for my printer, I need to have that rough side facing down in my printer drawer. Then go ahead and click on Print. To set your base material, go over to Browse All Materials and then search for acetate and then click on Done. Now acetate has a pressure setting of 319 and it does 2 passes around your design. Now my Cricut is currently having issues with pressure settings, so I'm going to do something different for my project, but test out the acetate setting for yourself and see if that works for you. Under pressure, you can also select more pressure. Lay your printed out shrink sheet onto a strong grip mat. If your mat isn't that sticky anymore, you can always put some tape on the corners. Just make sure your shrink sheet is not going to slide around on your mat when the Cricut cuts out your designs. Then place your mat into your Cricut machine and let your Cricut do its thing. First, your Cricut will scan for those registration marks in the corners, and then it will do 2 passes around each of your designs. So as I mentioned, I am having pressure issues with my Cricut machine. It is very old and it does not want to cut these out. Even after 50 passes, it still doesn't cut out. So I'm actually ordering a new Cricut machine. So if you're having this issue, you can always cut these out by hand. So I can kind of punch these out, but as you can see, it rips when I do that. So I'm just gonna take a pair of scissors and I'm gonna cut these out. Once you're done cutting these out, don't forget to put a little hole punch in the top, especially if you're using these for Christmas ornaments or a keychain. And then you can go ahead and shrink them the same way we did before, either using a toaster oven or a heat gun. Once you're done with all your shrinking, you can add a little hook to the top of them, or you can slide a string or ribbon inside the hole so that you're able to hang up your cute little shrink wrap designs on a little Christmas tree. I hope you enjoyed this project. For more crafting Christmas tutorials, go check out my Christmas playlist, and I hope to see you on more crafting adventures.